Lordship at Bothwell was a very powerful lordship in that the Lord of Bothwell was allowed to be the chief justiciar, the chief lawmaker for the Lothian regions, plus it was a very fertile area. And when Walter Murray inherited it, he came down with his family from Murrayshire and started to build a castle. They built the castle on a huge area of sandstone that had a steep slope down to the River Clyde, which flowed round it on two sides. There were also sandstone cliffs of between 1 metre and 20 metres high up and down the river, and this stone was used to build the castle. They started building two huge outer towers, being the entrance over a flooded pit with a drawbridge, two latrine towers on either side, plus a well tower. The donjon was a formidable fortress with a circle of houses along the top for soldiers to live and fight from during battle. The top floor was the Murrays' sleeping apartments, and the middle floor would be for friends and nobles visiting, with the ground floor their huge day room. There were latrines off it, bedrooms off it, as well as many arrow slits to protect the castle. There was also the house where jutted out where the boiling oil would be poured down on enemies trying to use a battering ram against the drawbridge. The moat at the front was deep and was filled by natural springs. The dining hall which the Black Douglas built later on, he called it the Great Hall, and it was a magnificent building on top of the old dining hall, which was made into three cellars to support the heavy stone and woodwork on the upper floors. There was also a southeast tower, which was partly for the priest's house in the magnificent chapel that Sir Archibald built, and he also built new kitchens and areas, barrack areas for his men. The Douglas Tower was a huge square tower just as you're coming into the castle, and it rose even slightly above the donjon. The Douglas Tower was a giant square tower, slightly taller than the donjon, with a fortified wooden top. And the only way into it for the enemy or friends was by coming into the castle, climbing upstairs, walking over the floor or roof of the original dining hall, and a two-person drawbridge would come down to enable entry. And at night, when that was pulled up, no army on earth could get through that one. As well as visiting Bothwell Castle, there are lovely walks along the Clyde, and there is also a walkway which would take you to the David Livingstone Memorial in Blantyre. If you're coming out by public transport, you'd be able to get the same public transport back from there from Uddingston.